There have been more Israeli attacks on Gaza, despite US President Donald Trump's announcement of a roadmap to disarm Hamas and get Israeli forces out of the Strip. At least 5 Palestinians were killed and more than 10 others wounded in the latest attacks. Now, Palestinians are trying to salvage what's left of critical medical supplies after Israel bombed a storage warehouse for Al-Aqsa Hospital in Deir al-Balah. Israeli forces used fighter jets to carry out the attack, dropping a large amount of explosives on a building surrounded by tents housing displaced people. And President Trump announced that roadmap through his Board of Peace for Gaza. And Trump says all parties have agreed to the draft agreement plan.
We have just arrived to the bomb site where the Israeli army struck one of the major medical warehouses in central Gaza, creating a compound catastrophe for both patients and displaced Palestinians who had taken shelter near this facility. The notice came as a phone call by the Israeli army to one of the residents, ordering them to leave the place immediately. 15 minutes later, the attack happened, creating this huge hole. In the corner here, we will find that medical staff trying to salvage the survived medical equipment and medical supplies in order to keep the hospital running for another day. This facility served as a lifeline for them. And on the other side here, where tents has been struck and damaged, we will find that families trying to dig down in the ground, trying to also looking for something useful. And for them, the worst is yet to come, as they will start another journey of displacement, as all of the displacement camps are overwhelmed with displaced Palestinians. All of these attacks happen while there is a breakthrough in negotiations. Yet the Israeli military continue to destroy civilian infrastructure, making the daily life for Palestinians extremely difficult.
Joining us now from Minneapolis, Minnesota, is Mohammed Al-Masri. He's a professor at the Doha Institute for Graduate Studies. Welcome to the show. So, I'm not sure if you've seen the pictures of this latest Israeli attack on a medical warehouse. Quite a big crater. You can see what looks like medical supplies strewn around. There appears to be, very close proximity to people's, civilian homes and infrastructures there. What message does that send, especially a day after we've just had Donald Trump unveil another Gaza peace deal?
Yeah, a couple of things come to mind. First of all, we shouldn't be surprised by the size of the crater. You'll recall that throughout the war, Israel has been using these massive bombs. That was one of the controversies here in the United States because under Joe Biden, in particular, the U.S. continued to send those 2,000-pound bombs to the Israelis for use in Gaza, right through all of the genocide accusations. Right. So that's the first thing that kind of comes to mind. Secondly, the Israelis have a long history of kind of undercutting diplomatic efforts. We can think back just to earlier this summer in the context of both Iran and Lebanon, when the U.S. announced breakthroughs. The Israelis then carried out these massive attacks to undercut what the U.S. had apparently brokered, and it actually angered Donald Trump on both occasions. And there's a long history going back to previous U.S. presidents as well. So we shouldn't necessarily be surprised by this. The message that they're sending is that they're in control of the situation on the ground, and no arrangement is going to be completed unless the Israelis are able to proceed on their terms. So I really think we should be very skeptical, to put it lightly, of this announcement that President Trump has made, because I don't know that it's realistic to expect that the Israelis are going to withdraw from Gaza.
And we've already had comments from Some officials, like Itamar Ben-Gvir, the national security minister in Israel, saying this is unacceptable. Do you see the US and Israel on a collision course over this?
Well, there have been tensions between Trump and Netanyahu. That is well documented, and I think we're likely to get further tensions. Netanyahu is going to have to make a decision. He's either going to have to align himself with President Trump and his plan, or the Israeli right wing, which you mentioned Itamar Ben-Gvir, but the right wing in Israel as a whole is opposed to this plan. And I would be remiss if I didn't point out that the idea of maintaining a presence in Gaza, occupying Gaza, and even expelling the Palestinian population is mainstream in Israeli society. It's not just the so-called far right. There was a poll that was done about a year and a half ago. 82% of Israeli Jews were in favor of the forced expulsion of all of the Palestinians from Gaza. So this is not popular in Israel with anybody.